Hello everyone, this is John from RPGs and More. It's been a while. I'm coming back for a short little bit to make this video because I have encountered a project that I think is worth a little boosting. Ooh, excuse me. Uh, Today I'm going to talk to you about an RPG that for once, well, I guess I can't say for once because I have been talking about the Prince Valiant RPG, but this one is also not a new RPG, although it also is. And I'll get to that in a moment. It is the Sword World RPG that is currently being translated from Japanese into English by the company Mugen Gaming. Sword World RPG was originally written by Group SNE back in the 1980s, and since then it has been entirely a Japanese role-playing game. And this is the first time that it has been officially translated into English. In about around May this year, Mugen Gaming will be launching their backer kit in order to fund the project. Right now, they're working on the project. It is in active development, as far as I'm aware, but it is not paid for yet. They have a license from Group SNE in order to provide this, which is pretty cool, and it's really nice to see them getting supported by the original publishers of the Sword World. There's also a fan translation which has cropped up over the past 4 years, which is done almost entirely by a group of people who are the producers of the Guided by Cardia YouTube channel. And I'll try to put a link to their channel as well as to Mugen Gaming's channel and their website. Look for that either in the description or in the comments below shortly after this video goes live. So why am I bringing this up? Well, because I think that Sword World is a very interesting game. If you're looking for I hate using the term D&D killer because I don't think that anything is a D&D killer in that sense. Even D&D itself can't be a D&D killer because D&D is it's more of a concept than a game at this point with so many people, which is kind of odd. But at the same time, being someone who's in that, I kind of get it. But what it can do is I think that once it's officially translated into English, it has the potential to sort of barge its way into the dynamic of RPGs here in the West. And in a positive way, because it does a few things that I think are really, really neat. One of the things that it does is it uses just 2 six-sided dice to do everything. Now, so does Call of Cthulhu. Right, but Call of Cthulhu is very much tied to a, well, Cthulhu setting. And so that is really not to everyone's taste. Whereas Sword World, while it is tied to the Sword World setting, a place called Raxia, it is also a fantasy setting. And it's kind of a little more open-ended in that way. And I think that is going to resonate with a lot of the modern audience because a lot of people really still like fantasy, and that's kind of what they gravitate towards. Some people have particular tastes in fantasy, but most really just enjoy fantasy. And Sword World is actually the kind of fantasy where a lot of video games, like the Final Fantasy games, have taken some inspiration from, as well as Sword World has taken inspiration from them. It's kind of a mutual sharing of inspiration situation. That was almost poetic. Sorry. Also, a lot of other Japanese media, especially in the anime realm, have taken cues from Sword World over the years because their creators probably played. And there's even been some animes that released that I'm told were actually heavily inspired by Sword World campaigns, if not even directly are representing a Sword World campaign. Some people would argue that Record of Lodoss War has a connection to all of that. It kind of does and it kind of doesn't. Excuse me. For more information on that, you can look at the channel Guided by Cardia. They actually have a video that explains that whole thing. I don't want to really go into that here because it'll make this video even longer, and I'm not sure that I remember everything accurately. So let's leave that aside. So yeah, the 2d6. It's very wide. It's very highly developed setting. It's only had 2.5 editions since the 80s, which means it's also a very stable system. There are a lot of supplements that are out there. It's going to take a while to get everything translated to English, assuming that there's an audience for it. That's part of what the Backer Kit in May is about, is to show both Mugen Gaming and Group SNE that there is an actual audience for this sort of thing. And just so that you're aware, you don't have to be an anime fan to enjoy Sword World. I mean, it probably helps. But Sword World is, in essence, a role-playing game, which means that you can use any kind of imagery that sparks your fancy. If you really prefer Tolkien-esque images, I mean, there's no reason why you can't have a game that uses Tolkien-esque imagery and themes and things like that in the game and just use the Sword World rules in order to play that. So don't feel like it's an anime game. It does use that art a bit because that's kind of the thing to do in the original with the releases in Japan. As it's developed, it developed an interesting art style. So it does use that kind of art because that's what's available and common and kind of expected in the culture that it comes from. But that's not to shoehorn it into just that crowd. And you don't have to feel like if you're playing this, then you must be part of a particular crowd or not. So I want to get that one out of the gate right there, because I know some people have very, like, you know, instantaneous reactions to, like, this is an anime thing. There's no way I'm playing that. It must be weird. This is not that kind of thing. Other things that the system does that are really kind of cool that I think will get people's attention, it encourages, almost demands multi-classing. So if you are like one of those people that really loves to combine different classes in order to create something unique to you or to try to power build with it, game's got you covered. If you're one of those people that just likes to combine things in order to create story, game's got you covered. If you're one of those people that wants to say something like, well, I just want to be a fighter and only a fighter and do nothing but fighting, well, I mean, game's got you covered, but you may find yourself a little one-sided as a character. So that may not be to your taste in the end. But at the same time, if you go a few levels of only fighter and then after that realize that you're not happy, you can easily start multi-classing and it's not going to break anything. You'll be okay. So don't stress on that one. You can try it out if you want to. It's fine. The kitty is making an appearance. This is special. All right, so what else is going on with Sword World? So if you sign up for the Backer Kit, no money down, just signing up to get notified that when it goes live, then you will get access to a PDF link, which will send you this Sword World Primer. Right now, this Sword World Primer, which mine is in black and white because that's what my printer is, but if you want it in color, then it is a bright, beautiful color document. That Sword World Primer is the only official Sword World English translated document at this time. At the time of filming. Excuse me. So what it does is it's a 64 pages-ish book that teaches you how to play the game. And it teaches you how to play the game by actually playing the game. You kind of run through a solo session where you pick. They do kind of tell you which character to pick. There's 4 pre-gens and they tell you start with the human fighter. Okay, that kind of helps them, so that way they teach you how to play the human fighter. over that chapter, and you go through both accepting a quest, and then you get ready for it, and then you go to the questing area, and you explore the questing area and fight the monster. And if you win, you get to collect some loot. If you don't, things happen. And I'm not going to spoil the rest of it because there's a little more involved. After you finish that solo adventure, then there is a group adventure, which is designed for up to 4 players and 1 game master, and is designed to take roughly 2 to 3 hours to play. And that's assuming that you're teaching the rules to your players as you play. I have found with some of the players that I've played with, you might want to budget a little bit more time, so maybe a full 4 hours, just because not everyone gets things at the same speed. But then again, I mean, you might get lucky, and it can be done. Some people, if the players are on point and they already know the rules and everything is just bam, 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 you could probably get it done in an hour and a half. I don't recommend doing it that quickly because I think there's a lot of meat on the bones of this thing. But, I mean, if you want to speed run it, you can. What's neat about it is if you want to run just a basic adventure with this thing, doing everything as the book states, then it's a simple adventure. You can, however, add a few things to it if you are a skilled GM and you recognize what you see, and you're not afraid of running social encounters, because there's a nice village encounter which I won't detail here, but I'll just say it's there. There's a potential for some really interesting social interactions, and it does include rules in a sidebar of how to do that sort of thing, or at least a little bit. For example, one of the things that they have is a rule called detect. Now, detect can be used for looking for weird things in the area, like detect traps sort of thing. But actually, what it also can do is detect other people's emotional states. And as soon as I saw that, I said, bam, that is the key right now for me for how do I design encounters, social encounters, where if the players are trying to find out some information, they're going to have to judge how a character, an NPC, is feeling, and try to figure out ways to interact with that NPC in order to get the information that they want. Not necessarily in an interrogation kind of way, although that could be an option, but as maybe as just getting to know somebody, maybe kind of being a little persuasive here and there, learning how to talk to different people because different people have different priorities, and just kind of putting a little more meat on the bones of this potential social encounter. You don't have to do it that way, but I think it could be fun. It could actually lend a little more drama to the situation once you realize different people's opinions. And you might have to do a little bit of work, kind of adding a little more details to some of the NPCs to help you do that. But that's okay. Most DMs are really quite happy to do that kind of work. That's where we have our fun, per se. So if you don't want to run the module as specifically written in the book, you don't have to. There's a lot of things you can add to it if you want to. And they do have some rules to support that. If you want to run it just as written, you can. It's perfectly fine, and it's a beautiful module written by one of the original authors. So, good job there. There are 4 pre-generated characters. There's not a lot of rules for leveling up your characters. You're basically where you are. But it does tell you how leveling up works, so you get an idea of how it would work in the main game. And there is a neat little thing of after each game session, you can roll some dice, and that the die rolls will decide how your ability scores will grow. So even if you're not earning experience, if you're playing multiple sessions with these same starter primer characters, then they're still going to be growing in stature, and they're still going to be getting better. So you don't necessarily have to have it be a one and done game session if you don't want to. If you want to, take the information that's there, extrapolate a few things, and kind of grow a little campaign, You can, if you want to use some of the fan translated material in order to expand this thing, you can. Um, so it's generally kind of neat like that. The fan translations are provided by Guided by Cardia. Guided by Cardia is already a huge supporter, not only of the original Sword World creators, because they do ask in all their material that if you download their PDFs, please do support the original authors by going and ordering the books in Japanese, which is how they're only available right now, in order to kind of pay for the book that you're getting for free through the fan translation. But now that there's an official English translation coming in, they're going full in to support Mugen Gaming in that, which means that they've stated that once Mugen Gaming releases the official translated material, they'll start dialing back the material that they have available on their websites in order to kind of help to funnel people into the official works. So while so they are on board, very supportive, awesome group of people. I am flabbergasted by how much work they have put into this project over the past years, and absolutely respect that. It is amazing to see because they've done a lot. If you start looking at everything that they've translated, oh my gosh, it's crazy. But a lot of respect. Hats off to you. All right, so that's kind of what the primer is. That's what we're looking at right now. The book that will be translated is the deluxe rulebook. That is kind of a big rulebook that combines the 3 core rulebooks of edition 2.5 into one. Each of those 3 core rulebooks, well, the first one at least is a standalone game, so we are going to get a full game in the deluxe rulebook, although we're still figuring out where the monsters are going to come in, because in the original Japanese version of the deluxe rulebook, there aren't any monsters, but Mugen Gaming says they're working on it. So I'm not sure what the plan is yet, but I know there is a plan, and I'm here for it. Anyway, I actually just finished yesterday morning. Actually, I just finished running a play-by-post of the primer campaign. No, I didn't run it. I played. I was a player, but I just finished playing in it, and it took us. Play-by-posts always take longer to do things, and I take even longer because I don't post multiple times every day. But it still took us maybe about 2 months to finish the campaign at a slow pace, and I gotta tell you, it was a lot of fun. It's a very neat story. I was able to put my own spin on the pre-generated characters and really make the pre-generated character that I played really feel like my own. And I really I enjoyed that. So I can say with authority that it's a fun little campaign, and if you are interested even just in reading it, I think you'll enjoy it. Anyway, there's also a Discord for both the fan translated versions, as well as there's a Discord by Mugen Gaming for the official ones. And if you go onto the Mugen Gaming's website and or the backer kit, you'll get links to that. All right, so that's kind of what Sword World is. That's why I think it's kind of neat and what I like about it so far. Recognizing that this is still very much a work in progress, and it's going to be a few months before we even get the backer kit before this launches, and I am predicting, not unkindly, that we will probably be waiting for about a year after the backer kit closes before we see the actual product released. I base that not on anything that Mugen Gaming has done. That's just kind of what seems to be the average for Kickstarters and backer kits that I've backed in the past. Mugen Gaming could surprise the heck out of me and provide this stuff a lot sooner, but we'll see. I mean, things happen, and things that things that aren't the producer's fault happen. Anything from tariffs to just shortages. I mean, it's okay. We don't need to people to freak out about that. Just understand that you're not going to get it right away. that's kind of the expectation with backer kits and Kickstarters anyway. So, bully. I think that's everything I wanted to say about this. I do. There's a lot that's been going on with me for the past 11 months, and there's been a lot of life changes. Some good, some bad. Maybe I'll go over that more in a later video. But hopefully, if things go according to plan, I'll be able to get some more videos out in the next few weeks or months and start showing some of the things that I've been working on, as well as some of the cool games that I have found, and talking about making games accessible to the visually impaired. Um, that's another topic that, or at least finding games that are accessible, I should say, or and grading them on that. I can't really comment too much on the Sword World Primer for that, mostly because it is only available on PDF. The PDF looks fine. I don't see any issues. I certainly enjoyed reading it. I didn't have any trouble reading the PDF. I printed it out in black and white, and I don't have any trouble reading it there either. I think that as long as they stick to the style and aesthetic that they have for the primer, that they should be fine. I don't foresee any serious issues. But we'll see how life goes. And I am very excited to see this come in, because I think this has the potential, like I said earlier, to really shake up the RPG space here in the West, because we really have this thing with D&D is the big one. Trying to grab the cat, I failed. D&D is the big one, and then there's Pathfinder, and then you've got other game systems that are coming up, like Daggerheart and Shadow Dark, and lots of great other ones. I mean, let's not forget things like Rifts and Numenera. But what I noticed is that a lot of things are kind of they're not the same, because that's a false statement. We've got a lot of variety. We actually are almost have way too much. Now, I wouldn't say too much variety, but we have so much variety that it's almost sad, because a lot of people don't get to play all the games that they want to play. But I have noticed, at least, and maybe it's just me, but it seems like there's a lot of games that are falling under similar paths and routes. And some of that is just the nature of publishing here in the West, and some of that is the nature of the player base and what people buy. But my hope is that something with the legs that Sword World has, with the market credibility that it has, because it's been a solid product in Japan for a long time, which means that it's not an experimental product. This is a product that has an established pedigree, and it just hasn't been translated into our language. So I think that's pretty cool. I'm looking forward to exploring the setting, because it's a huge setting, very, very iceberg-esque. If you're familiar with the adage of the iceberg, the little bit you see on the top, and then the whole big thing underneath. So this is very, very much like that. I would actually compare it to BattleTech in a sense. If you can just play with the top bits, and you'll have a great game, and you can have fun with classic BattleTech just playing with the common bits. But if you want something more detailed, you can start adding on module rules, and you can start adding in more details, and you can go full ham into the system, and there's a lot there. So if you just want something new to dig your teeth into, and kind of leave some of the more trodden paths behind that you've been experiencing recently in your RPG worlds, this is a pretty good one to go for. There's a lot of stuff if you want stuff that's already been established in a setting and you don't want to make up your own stuff, there's a lot there that you can just grab and go. Um, Especially with the fan translations available right now. I mean, go ahead and use those while they're available, and then switch over to the official stuff when it comes out. Anyway, I think that's enough for now. Thank you for your time and attention, and thank you for listening to what I have to say. It means a lot. This is this channel is a labor of love, um, and time, because I don't always have the time, which is one of the reasons why I've been so quiet. I haven't had the time and the spirit to be able to make videos that were entertaining. Um, so I appreciate each and every one of you that sticks around and enjoys my stuff. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Thank you again, and peace be with you. Bye bye.